Imagine God handing you a gift and your entire future depends on what you do with it. Use it, lose it, or bury it. Let's talk about one of Jesus' most powerful wake-up calls. Jesus tells a story about a master who's leaving on a long trip. Before he goes, he calls 3 servants and hands them money called talents, not skills, actual currency. But here's the twist. He gives each servant a different amount. One gets 5 talents, one gets 2, one gets 1. Jesus is showing us something early. God doesn't give everyone the same amount, but he does expect everyone to do something with what they've been given. The first servant goes all in. He invests the 5 talents and doubles it. The second servant, same energy. He takes his 2, works with it, and doubles that too. But the third servant panics. Instead of using his talent, he digs a hole and buries it. Why? Fear? He chooses safety over responsibility, protection over purpose. Jesus is making a point. Doing nothing with what God gave you is still a choice, and it's the wrong one. When the master comes back, he checks their work. The first 2 servants hear the most beautiful words anyone could hear from God. Well done, good and faithful servant. Not because they had the most, but because they did the most with what they had. But the third servant steps up with excuses. He says, I was afraid, so I hid what you gave me. Fear kept him from obedience. And the master calls it what it is, wicked and lazy. Jesus uses this story to teach us 3 major truths. God gives everyone something: time, talent, opportunity, influence. He expects growth, not perfection, faithfulness, not fear. Burying what God gave you is not safe, it's disobedience. The talent you're hiding right now? That might be the very thing God wants to multiply. So here's the question. Are you doubling what God put in your hands, or are you digging a hole and hiding it? Because in this parable, the reward wasn't for being the most gifted, it was for being the most faithful. The third servant didn't fail because he had less. He failed because he did nothing. He blamed the master, blamed fear, blamed the risk. But Jesus exposes the real issue. He didn't trust the master's character. If he truly believed the master was good, generous, and fair, he would have acted boldly. This is where many of us get stuck. We think, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? But Jesus wants us to understand, your greatest danger is not failure, it's not trying. God is not harsh for expecting growth. He is wise. He gives you gifts because he knows what they're capable of becoming. A seed is meant to grow. A light is meant to shine. A talent is meant to be used. When God puts something in your hands, it's not random. It's an assignment. And heaven takes your assignment seriously. That's why the master rewards the servants who invested their talents, because they honored the purpose behind the gift. Stewardship means this. You don't own everything in your life. You manage it for God, your money, your voice, your creativity, your opportunities, your relationships. All of it is on loan from heaven. And the way you treat what God has placed in your hands reveals how much you trust him. The first 2 servants saw their talents as tools. The last servant saw his talent as a burden. Here's the mind-blowing part. God multiplies what you move. Every step of faith creates momentum. Every risk in obedience creates opportunity. Every use of your talent expands your capacity. But multiplication never happens in the ground, only in your hands. Jesus is teaching us kingdom math. You bring the faith, God brings the increase. If you bury your gift, it stays one. If you use your gift, God can make it many. One of the most serious lines in the parable says, the master took the talent from the third servant and gave it to the one with 10. Why? Because unused gifts are reassigned. Opportunities move, callings shift. If you won't step into your purpose, God will give it to someone who will. This isn't punishment, it's protection. God won't let potential rot in the ground. But here's the good news. If you're faithful with a little, God can trust you with more. The first 2 servants didn't just make profit, they were promoted. Jesus is showing us that your talent is not just a gift, it's a doorway. Faithfulness in small things leads to responsibility in big things. Obedience today shapes your destiny tomorrow, so let's get real for a second. What has God placed in your hands? What are you gifted at? What opportunities are you ignoring? What dream have you buried? This parable is Jesus calling you out with love, asking you to dig up what you buried and start using what you've been given. Your talent wasn't meant to rest, it was meant to rise. This parable isn't just a story Jesus told 2,000 years ago. It's a mirror. Every one of us is one of these servants. Some people are using their gifts boldly. Some are slowly growing through faithfulness. And some are spiritually burying what God entrusted to them. Your talent might not be money. It might be your leadership, your creativity, your kindness, your voice, your influence, your ability to encourage others. Whatever God gave you, it's something the world needs. Jesus didn't tell this story to scare you, he told it to wake you up. One reason people bury their gifts is comparison. Their talent is better, their platform is bigger, my gift is too small to matter. But Jesus destroys that excuse in the parable. The master never compared the servants to each other. He only compared what they did with what they had. God isn't judging you by someone else's calling. He's looking at your faithfulness in your lane. Comparing your talent won't grow it, using it will. Fear is the silent killer in this story. The third servant wasn't evil, he was scared. Scared of failing, scared of disappointing, scared of losing what he had. But here's the truth. Fear will bury your purpose deeper than the dirt ever will. Faith isn't about being fearless, it's about trusting God enough to move even when you're shaking. He doesn't bless perfection, he blesses obedience. Jesus doesn't ask you to grow everything overnight. Multiplication begins with movement. Start where you are. Use what you already have. Grow consistently, not randomly. Serve people with your gifting. Stay focused on God's assignment for you when you use your talent. Something supernatural happens. God breathes on it. Doors open. Skills sharpen, opportunities appear. What you start small, God multiplies big. The parable ends with the master evaluating what each servant did. And here's the part we often overlook. We will stand before God too. Not to be condemned, but to give an account of the life he loaned us. The master's words, "Well done, good and faithful servant," are still the greatest words a believer could ever hear. Your life is your offering. Your obedience is your worship. Your talent is your assignment. Here's the beautiful truth. As long as you're breathing, your talent can still rise. It's not too late to unbury your gift. Not too late to restart? Not too late to step into purpose again? God isn't done with you. This parable isn't a warning for your past, it's an invitation for your future. Take a second and think. What is the one thing God gave you that you haven't used? Because life got busy, or fear got loud, or excuses got comfortable? Jesus ends the parable with urgency because this matters. You were born with purpose. You were entrusted with gifts. And heaven is waiting for what you'll do next. So here's your challenge. Don't bury what God put inside you. Take it out of the ground, sharpen it, practice it, grow it. Use it for God's glory and other people's good. Because the world doesn't just need more talent, it needs more faithful people. If this message spoke to you, drop a "I'm ready" in the comments. Share this with someone who needs to unbury their calling. And remember, your talent is not just a gift, it's a responsibility. And God is ready to multiply whatever you're bold enough to use.